Hoarding and self-worth. I recently moved into an apartment building where I share a significantly small entry hallway with the apartment next door. Our doors are side by side. My neighbor decided to use the space of his hallway to decorate it, which is fine and has like this sort of 1990s Olive Garden cheesecake factory decorative vibe, which is cool. I don't mind it. But that's not the problem. The problem is that my neighbor is a hoarder and his hoard has taken up the hallway. And now he has to use my part of the hallway to enter into his own house. And he sometimes decides to even obstruct the entry to my own house with his hoard. So, I am making this video to try to understand him before I go all crazy on him. And more than anything, to try to see what the relation is between a person that hoards and a person that has very little and lack of self-worth. Spoiler alert, it's usually very related. There are many types of hoards. We are not going to go into that right now because it's super long. I'm going to really specify on the hoard that takes on a physical, outside way. As I'm sure you guys know, usually when you watch Hoarders, all of the people that are on this show are very introverted. They're very like, oh no, don't look at my stuff. I don't want to have any guests over. They usually haven't had their kids over in a while too. It's a very introverted type of life. It's more like you're trying to isolate in some sort of way, and I feel like the hoard keeps you company besides many other things. In this specific situation, when the hoard decides to take a life of its own and move outside, it has a very different connotation than I think the usual introverted hoard. Because even though the person that is living next door is an introvert type, even though the person is not really outgoing, like, hey, how are you? What's up? Which is great, by the way. Which is great. Which I don't want that. Like, no, 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 like, no. The fact that this mental illness takes on this sort of look at me type of vibe is very related to when the child is denied a space for their emotions. During the upbringing, the parenting responsibilities include soothing the child's emotion when they are out of hand, which is normal. That's why kids exist. They have emotions. They're here to like see what they can do with them, not to be repressed. When a child in that situation is denied in such a way this space, the idea of space completely is eviscerated. And there's no physical space, no emotional space, no outside space, no inside space. There's just no division to understand anything related to how that child creates a space. For whatever reason, when we grew up, we create this spaces where we can have a relationship with a human being, or when we can work, or where we can be creative. Sometimes it should be the same. So what happens? What's going on with this hoarder that decides to place his life outside? And this specific case even takes on an additional connotation because it's on a first floor. It's like he wants it to be seen. He wants it to be addressed. Validated even? That's the problem. the human that carries this hoard with them is so lacking in self-worth that they need anything exterior to validate them. And if this validation comes in the form of a conflict created by the outside hoard, because I think it's fair to say that none of the people that living in the building are comfortable with this dude's garbage outside. Is that such a weird idea? That it becomes his way of claiming that space that was taken away from him when he was a kid, his birthright. So what was given to this child just naturally for being born and for being a child is now something that he sees as a fight, as an everyday struggle to make himself worth the space that was taken from him as a child. Now, clearly, I have no development in this story. I just came into the hoard and I am allowing it, but I will set limits and boundaries when that hoard obstructs my way, my living. And I think that's all that I should do. And if anybody's faced in this position, if you focus on the hoard, there's something going on with you as well that you should probably address. It's clearly not in the extreme that the hoarder has. But if there's something that's moving you and it's moving your emotions and you're like, then you should probably sit down and be like, why is this hoard bothering me so much? No. In the sense of how the hoarder sees this action and why in some sort of way it's allowed, it's because the fact that this child grew up with so many incoherences around him, or they, them, it's how every single concept as an adult is understood through incoherence. Let me add something additional to this part so that it's a little more clear. It's a little bit more clear. Say, for example, that the hoarder is religious. In some sort of way, he utilizes the concept of religion, of being religious and being good and being a good person and being some sort of godly like. I believe in God, so God believes in me. So I am allowed to do these things because my God that believes in me gives me permission. And you justify it in such a way, people justify it in such a way that they make religion work for them in every sense. But every aspect of that is incoherent because religion is about respect. And the fact that this human being is deciding, for whatever reason, to make his hoard his way of claiming his space is disrespectful to those that share that space. And we have nothing to do with his ideas of self-worth or lack thereof. So what happens in the situations when this child is forced to be accountable for that? To stop justifying the hoard through religion, or to stop justifying the hoard through its unsoothed emotions. It's not anyone's responsibilities to be accountable for one's emotions, but oneself. It's not anyone's responsibility to soothe you when you're feeling up or when you're feeling down, but yourself. Yes, going up needs soothing as well. Yes, being in this extreme place of excitement creates a lot of energy as well that needs to be soothed, brought down, balanced, calibrate it, insert favorite synonym here. Thanks.